Big Auto is abandoning the EV dream, and no one wants to admit it. For years, they told us this was the future. Gasoline was finished. Electric was unstoppable. The transition was inevitable. Billions were spent. Factories were retooled. Entire lineups were erased. If you weren't going electric, you were dead. That was the narrative. But now, that narrative is cracking. Behind closed doors, automakers are pulling back. Projects are being canceled. Deadlines are being pushed. Investments are being quietly reduced. And one of the most disciplined companies in the industry just made a move that says everything. Honda blinked. Not loudly, not dramatically, but decisively. They just scrapped a major electric SUV meant for the US market. This wasn't some experimental side project. It was supposed to compete with Tesla, challenge Ford, lead Honda's electric future. And now, it doesn't exist. Why? Because the numbers don't lie. Battery costs surged. Supply chains stayed fragile. Charging infrastructure stalled. And consumers, they hesitated. They loved the idea of EV, but they didn't love the price. They didn't love the charging time. They didn't love the uncertainty. So they waited. And when consumers wait, automakers panic. Then came the bigger shock. Honda had pledged nearly $70 billion toward electrification, a massive public commitment. In 2025, they slashed it by almost a third. Billions redirected back into hybrids and combustion engines. Let that sink in. While the industry was supposed to be accelerating, Honda hit the brakes. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. They might not be wrong. EV growth is slowing. Inventories are rising. Incentives are increasing. And hybrids, the boring middle ground, are suddenly dominating sales. In some markets, hybrids are outselling EV by a wide margin. Consumers aren't rejecting electrification. They're choosing caution. This isn't just a Honda story, it's a signal. Because when one of the most calculated, risk-averse automakers in the world recalibrates, it usually means something bigger is happening. The EV revolution isn't collapsing, but it is correcting. And that correction could reshape the entire industry. For Honda, the pivot toward hybrids isn't just a compromise. It is a deliberate attempt to give customers what they want now, rather than forcing them into a technology many still perceive as premature. It's important to understand that this does not mean Honda has abandoned EVs. On the contrary, the company continues to invest in its Zero Series, a new global lineup of electric vehicles that embodies a more forward-thinking design and technological philosophy. Two prototypes, the sleek Zero Saloon and the versatile Zero SUV, remain firmly in Honda's product pipeline, scheduled to enter production in 2026. These models reflect not only a stylistic shift toward minimalist design, but also the integration of new digital ecosystems, over-the-air updates, and advanced safety and driver assistance systems. At the recent Monterey Car Week, Honda's luxury division, Acura, unveiled the RSX prototype, a striking all-electric crossover built on this new platform. Scheduled to be manufactured in Ohio, it highlights Honda's determination to stay in the EV race, albeit with carefully chosen models rather than sprawling lineups. This dual approach, betting big on hybrids now while still nurturing a handful of strategic EVs for the near future, illustrates Honda's philosophy of pragmatism over dogma. Toshihiro Mibe, Honda's CEO, has been clear in public statements that his ultimate goal is carbon neutrality, not a specific technological solution. He acknowledges that EVs are central to that mission, but resists the notion that they are the only path forward. Having spent over 30 years in engine development, Mibe openly admits a personal bias toward combustion technology. Yet he also frames Honda's strategy as one of customer empowerment. Rather than forcing buyers into electric vehicles that may be too expensive, inconvenient, or ill-suited to their region, Honda wants to offer multiple options: hybrids, plug-in hybrids, EVs, and even fuel cell vehicles, letting the market evolve naturally. Fuel cells, in fact, represent one of Honda's most intriguing bets. For decades, the company has dabbled in hydrogen, producing a handful of niche models, but never achieving mainstream traction. Now, as EV momentum cools, Honda is reinvigorating its fuel cell program, planning to launch a new hydrogen-powered CR-V variant. Engineers claim recent breakthroughs could slash emissions by as much as 90% compared to traditional internal combustion, potentially offering a lower carbon solution without the drawbacks of long charging times or heavy battery packs. While skeptics point out the immense infrastructural hurdles facing hydrogen, Honda views it as part of a broader portfolio rather than an all-or-nothing gamble. To some industry observers, Honda's moves resemble a gamble in themselves. After all, while Honda scales back, companies like Tesla continue pushing ahead, maintaining dominance in the EV space and banking on economies of scale to drive costs down. Policymakers in Europe and China also continue to apply heavy pressure for electrification, with bans on new internal combustion vehicles looming in the next decade. Critics argue that Honda risks falling behind, clinging to hybrids and alternative fuels while competitors secure their foothold in the EV mainstream. If infrastructure accelerates more quickly than expected, Honda could suddenly appear unprepared. Yet there's another side to this coin. The slowdown in EV adoption has been real. After years of optimistic forecasts, demand in the US has not matched expectations. Automakers have piled billions into capacity expansion only to face inventories piling up on lots, forcing price cuts and eroding margins. Ford and General Motors, both initially bullish, have delayed or canceled several EV projects themselves, quietly acknowledging that the market cannot absorb as many vehicles as once projected. Even in China, the world's largest EV market, oversupply and price wars have hammered profits. Against that backdrop, Honda's cautious approach begins to look less like timidity and more like foresight. In North America, Honda's recalibration has extended to its industrial footprint. In Ontario, a $15 billion EV project that was meant to create a new assembly line and battery plants has been postponed for as long as 2 years. In the United States, Honda continues building out its EV hub in Ohio, but with a more staggered rollout than originally envisioned. These pauses highlight how large-scale capital projects are being reevaluated in light of uncertain demand curves, labor disputes, and fluctuating government incentives. Despite this pullback, Honda is not ignoring innovation. Its partnership with Sony under the joint venture Sony-Honda Mobility remains alive, aiming to bring a high-tech EV to market by the mid-2020s. This collaboration blends Honda's manufacturing expertise with Sony's software, entertainment, and artificial intelligence strengths. The project envisions not just another EV, but a rethinking of mobility, integrating immersive digital experiences, advanced automated driving, and connectivity features that appeal to younger, tech-oriented buyers. Though still in early stages, it demonstrates that Honda is not retreating into conservatism, but instead spreading its bets across multiple potential futures. For now, what can be said with certainty is that Honda has not quit the EV race. It has not dismantled its EV business, nor declared war on electrification. Instead, it has made tough decisions to scrap unviable projects, rebalanced its financial commitments, and leaned on hybrids as a bridge. At the same time, it continues to pursue bold initiatives like the Zero Series, the RSX prototype, and its hydrogen program, while embracing software and digital integration through Sony. It is a path that may seem cautious compared to Tesla's daring, but it may also prove steadier in the long run. The global auto industry is in flux, no longer marching in lockstep toward an all-electric horizon, but experimenting with multiple strategies to balance technology, profit, and sustainability. Honda's approach, guided by its pragmatic CEO, may not deliver headlines as sensational as sweeping EV bans or futuristic battery breakthroughs, but it embodies a realism that could shape the next era of mobility. Whether this realism becomes a model for others or a missed opportunity will only be clear in hindsight. For now, Honda is walking a careful middle road, committed to carbon neutrality, but unwilling to rush headlong into an uncertain future. That was all from us today for this video. For more similar content, make sure to subscribe to Rev Without Roar. See you in the next one.